I am 29 male, am an actuary. I deal with risk and numbers for a living. I like structure, which is probably why I ended up with my fiancé. She was the complete opposite, impulsive, dramatic, and a whirlwind of emotions. We had been engaged for 6 months, living in the house I bought before we met. I handled all the finances, and I thought I was providing a good life. Turns out, I was just providing a good salary for her to enjoy. Our wedding was only 3 weeks away. I was in my home office writing the final check for the caterers when she walked in. No knock, just a tense look on her face. I immediately knew this wasn't about the linen color. "We need to talk," she said, twisting the expensive engagement ring on her finger. I spun my chair around. "What's up? Did the DJ bail?" "No, it's about closure," she stammered, looking anxious. "About being ready to be your wife. I've been having these overwhelming feelings, these doubts, about my ex." The ex. The musician who cheated on her constantly, never held a job, and whom she cried about for months even after we started dating. Closure. I asked, trying to keep my voice even. What kind of closure requires a serious conversation 3 weeks before our wedding? She took a deep breath, like she was preparing for an audition. "He's at a cabin near the lake this weekend. He reached out. He said he wants one last goodbye, a proper farewell, so I can truly move on. I feel like if I don't go, I'll resent you, and I'll always wonder what if. I need a few nights with him to get it out of my system, to confirm that you are the choice I want to make. I need to be 100% committed when I walk down the aisle." I just stared at her. She was asking for a weekend pass to sleep with her ex, and framing it as mandatory relationship maintenance. The sheer audacity of the request, and the entitlement to think I would accept it, was unbelievable. She genuinely believed that because she was the bride, I should accommodate her emotional processing. "You want to spend a few nights with your ex," I summarized. "To make sure you want to marry me. It's not what you think. It's emotional. It's my Bachelorette week anyway. I was going to celebrate with the girls, but this is more important for us." She was pleading now, seeking the validation she always demanded. "If you loved me, you'd understand I need this processing time." I realized something cold and clear at that moment. I didn't love her anymore. The reality of who she was, a selfish, manipulative risk, was finally visible. If I fought her, she'd turn it around on me. If I said no, she'd either go anyway or resent me forever. So, I chose a third option. I stood up, walked over to her, and looked her straight in the eyes. I was utterly calm. "Okay," I said. She blinked, shocked. "Okay? You're actually okay with it? If you truly believe this is what you need to be 100% sure about our marriage, then you absolutely should go," I said, my voice betraying nothing. "Go get your closure." She immediately launched herself at me, hugging me tightly. "Thank you. You are the most understanding man in the world. This will save us, I promise." "Go pack," I told her, gently pulling away. "Don't keep him waiting." She ran upstairs, excited. I waited until I heard the suitcase zip up. Then I went back to my office and pulled up the spreadsheet listing every wedding vendor, deposit, and contract. She left an hour later, blowing me a kiss. "Love you. Be back Sunday, ready to be your wife." As soon as her car disappeared, I started working. It was Thursday evening. The wedding was 20 days away. I called the venue first. "I need to speak to the event coordinator about a cancellation." The coordinator was confused. "Sir, you'll lose the 50% deposit." "I am aware of the contract terms," I confirmed. "I am releasing the venue from the obligation and forfeiting the deposit. Cancel the wedding immediately. Send a confirmation email to me, and only me for now." Over the next 3 hours, I systematically called the caterer, the florist, the band, and the photographer. Since all the payments had come directly from my personal accounts, I had the sole authority to shut everything down. Thousands of dollars were gone, but the long-term cost of marrying her would have been higher. By midnight, the wedding was a ghost. Friday morning, I took the day off. I went to the hardware store for moving boxes and new smart locks. Back at the house, my house, bought and paid for solely by me, I started packing her belongings. She'd lived here for 6 months, so legally, she had established tenancy. I couldn't just throw her out without risking a lawsuit for illegal eviction. But I could prepare for her departure. I went into the bedroom. While clearing her side of the nightstand, I found her old, unlocked iPad. I opened iMessage. The thread with her maid of honor was immediately damning. Asterisk fiancé. He actually said yes. I can't believe he's such a pushover, lol. Asterisk. Asterisk fiancé. I'm just finding X's name. SDICK one last time before I settle for a safe life. I need to get it out of my system before I have to play housewife. Asterisk. I took clear photos of the texts and emailed them to myself. Settle for the safe life, I muttered. I finished packing everything. I didn't vandalize or damage anything. I was meticulous. Everything went into the 40 boxes. I hired a moving crew in the afternoon and had them take all her property to a clean, climate-controlled storage unit 5 miles away. I paid for 3 months up front. I taped the key to the unit in an envelope on the front door. Then, I changed the locks on every exterior door. By Friday evening, my house was mine again. Saturday, she was supposed to be at her Bachelorette party, which was taking place right after she wrapped up her closure trip. I was waiting for the perfect moment. When I canceled the venue, I told them to remove my contact info but kept hers as the secondary contact for their automatic cancellation survey email, which usually went out 48 hours after termination. At 7:30 p.m., I figured the email landed in her inbox. She was likely at the club, drinking and celebrating her infidelity with her friends. My phone started blowing up at 7:45 p.m. It was her. I let it ring 4 times. I finally answered the 5th call. Hello. I sounded utterly bored. Why in the world did the Crystal Gardens just call me asking why we canceled the wedding? Her voice was a terrified screech over loud music. They said it was terminated on Thursday. What kind of joke is this? No joke, I replied. I canceled it. The music cut out as she must have stepped outside. You what? You said you were okay with me going away. We're getting married in 3 weeks. No, I said, clearly and slowly. We aren't. You told me you needed to cheat on me to decide if you wanted to marry me. I decided for you. You don't. You were just settling. I told you it was for closure, she shrieked. You said okay. I lied. I admitted. Just like you lied about processing your emotions when you wanted one last thrill, because I'm just the safe option. I saw the text messages, sweetheart. A sharp, terrified silence followed. You can't do that. I'm calling the police. I'll sue you for an illegal invasion of privacy. Actually, and cheating on your fiancé putting my 3 weeks before the wedding is a breach of trust. I anticipated that, I countered. I have secured and prepaid a hotel room for you. They are in a storage unit on 4th Street. The Motel 6 off the highway. The key is taped to the front door. I have fulfilled my legal obligation to provide shelter to a tenant upon notice to quit. If you attempt to trespass on my property, I will have you arrested. If you sue me, I will release the screenshots of your explicit betrayal to your entire family and every guest on the list. Do you want to play those odds? You're heartless, she sobbed. I love you. I didn't sleep with him. I swear. It doesn't matter what you did, I said. It matters what you were willing to do. The wedding is off. The relationship is terminated. Enjoy the Motel 6. I hung up. But entitled people don't accept defeat easily. Sunday morning, she showed up with her father, the man who taught her entitlement. He was loud, aggressive, and determined to bulldoze me. They pounded on the door. Open up, you coward, her father screamed. You don't get to treat my daughter this way. I opened the door and stepped out, closing it firmly behind me, engaging the lock. I held out the envelope with the storage key and the motel key card. Here you go, I said calmly. Her father immediately got in my face. You kicked her out. She lives here. I'm calling the police right now, and they're going to arrest you for an illegal eviction. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911, dramatically declaring I was illegally locking out my abused partner. When the 2 police cars arrived, the sergeant looked at the scene, the sobbing woman, the red-faced father, and me, standing calmly with a folder of documents. She says she lives here, sir. the sergeant stated. You can't just change the locks. You need to let her back in until you get a court order. Officer, I agree, I said, handing him my meticulously prepared folder. However, I have fully mitigated the situation. I did not leave her homeless. I have legally notified her of the breakup. I moved all her property to a climate-controlled storage unit. Here is the receipt and insurance coverage. Furthermore, I have secured and paid for 30 days of alternative housing at the Motel 6. Here is the receipt. The sergeant looked at the paperwork, then at the father, who had gone quiet. You paid for a month at a hotel, sir? Yes, I confirmed. I have satisfied the legal requirement to provide immediate shelter to a tenant. I am simply refusing cohabitation due to extreme domestic volatility and infidelity, which makes me fear for my safety if she re-enters. The sergeant nodded slowly. This is a civil matter. He has provided paid accommodation and access to her property. We are not forcing entry into the residence. Take the key to the Motel 6, ma'am. Her father was furious. You're taking his side? She's his fiancée. Not anymore, the sergeant said, cutting him off. As the officers turned to leave, she played her last, desperate card. She grabbed my arm and screamed for the whole street to hear. I'm pregnant. He's throwing a pregnant woman out. The officers stopped dead. Her father's jaw dropped. Then he puffed up with renewed aggression. I looked at her, then back at the officers. That would be quite the medical miracle, officer, I said, my voice completely devoid of emotion. I had a vasectomy 4 years ago. Her face went from triumphant defiance to utter panic. She hadn't known. The entire block was silent. So, I concluded, if she is pregnant, it confirms my reason for separating. It is not mine. The sergeant couldn't hide his grin this time. He told her and her father to take the keys and go. Her father, looking utterly defeated and betrayed, roughly pulled her into his car. They drove off, leaving the keys right there on my porch railing. I thought that was the end. It was not. 2 hours later, my phone was hit by a social media blitz. She posted a tearful, edited video claiming I, a cold, heartless corporate monster, had thrown her out on the street weeks before the wedding because I got cold feet. She tagged my company, my boss, and even local news pages. She wanted to ruin my life and career. My boss called immediately. I walked to my computer, opened the evidence folder, and composed a final post. I attached the screenshots of her text messages admitting I was a pushover she was settling for, her plans for the closure weekend, and the receipts for the Motel 6 and the storage unit. My caption was short and brutal. Asterisk, the truth about the cancellation. I refused to marry someone who needed a weekend with her ex to decide if I was good enough to settle for. I protected myself and my home. I wish her the best at the Motel 6. Asterisk. I tagged her father, her mother, and every single mutual friend. I hit post. The social media firestorm reversed direction instantly. The internet hates a cheater and a victim who lies. She was completely obliterated. The maid of honor tried to save herself by commenting she didn't support the cheating, but I posted the full, uncropped screenshot of her encouraging texts, and she deleted her account entirely. Her father called again that evening. The rage was gone, replaced by a pathetic plea. Take it down. You're ruining her life. She lost her job. She ruined her own life when she chose infidelity over integrity, I said. I simply provided the missing data points. You raised her to believe the world would always bend for her entitlement. It just bent in the opposite direction. She's your responsibility now. I blocked him and everyone else connected to her. I sold the engagement ring back to the jeweler. She'd left it on my dresser before leaving. I used that money to book a solo trip to Italy, the destination she chose for her honeymoon. I dodged the biggest risk of my life. She wanted a few nights to see what she was missing. I gave her the rest of her life to realize what she lost. If you enjoy seeing high-risk entitlement get a final, cold, calculated settlement, give this a thumbs up. If your ex is currently trying to sue you, remember, documentation is everything.